This video is brought to you by Greenman Gaming. Click the link below to see some amazing deals on some incredible games. Gaming backlogs are pretty frustrating to deal with, and everyone has a big backlog, and you already know why you're here. You're here to see what games I've finished in my backlog, and in my most recent one, people were saying how it was games from my recent log because I'd played games that didn't come out too long ago. So in this one, I made sure it wasn't any recent games for you all. And yeah, let's start with the first one, that being Red Dead Redemption. I was very excited to play Red Dead Redemption 1 because despite the fact I'm 25 and I've played games since like 2003, I never beat the first Red Dead Redemption, which feels a bit like a crime because this game was iconic back in the day. But I didn't actually get into Red Dead Redemption until Red Dead 2, which I think is where most people got into it. And when Red Dead 1 came to PC, I finally decided to pick it up and play through it, which took me a while to do because I didn't really enjoy this game too much at first. I'm not going to spoil anything, but the way Red Dead 2 ends is depressing. It is a miserable game that makes you feel so empty. You get so attached to all these characters, and when you get to playing Red Dead 1, you just instantly feel that sadness. And it doesn't help that the game's slow as shit to begin with and you don't see like any familiar faces apart from like one of the Pinkerton dickheads. You start the game on a ranch, you help this girl called Bonnie McFarlane do a bunch of farm shit, and then you go into like a bum-ass town called Armadillo and do some stuff for the local sheriff, and it's all just kinda dull in a way. But I get why they're doing this, This was before Red Dead 2, you have to set up all of these different things. New Austin is this brand new open world that you technically haven't explored yet, because Arthur could never touch New Austin without getting shot trying to pass Blackwater in the main story, so you technically never really went here. So they had to set all that up. It's a big desert, it's basically a wasteland, and yeah, I found it kinda dull and monotonous. I know you meet Bill near the beginning and he shoots you, which is, it makes sense with why John's there to begin with, because John's been tasked with tracking down his old gang friends and taking them in. And it takes them on this journey through New Austin to Mexico. And I would say when you get to Mexico, that's when the game really starts to hit. At least that's when I started to really get into it. From that point onwards, I would argue that Red Dead 1, the story for that game, I enjoyed it more than Red Dead 2 in certain aspects. So that melancholic sadness feel that I felt at the beginning of Red Dead Redemption 1, even if you hadn't played Red Dead 2, you felt that shit. Something about this game felt sad, especially with John. This is a man who has been through shit. He has lost a lot, and you can tell just from his mannerisms, how he talks, especially compared to how he was in Red Dead 2. He was a bit more hopeful in Red Dead 2, but in this game he is gone. He doesn't care at all. Well, obviously he does care about some things, he does care about his previous gang members that he has to hunt down, and obviously he cares about his wife and his kid Jack, so yeah. But you can tell he's just been grinded down, and it's sad. The whole time playing through it, I had that sad feeling amplified more and more until it got to the breaking point with what happens at the end, which again, I'm not gonna spoil. But yeah, I really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 1, despite the fact I would argue it has a slower start than Red Dead Redemption 2, which I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but yeah, man, this game it made me feel really depressed in a good way. It's an incredible story. I definitely recommend playing it after Red Dead Redemption 2, despite the fact it is a massive downgrade gameplay wise, or you could argue it is an upgrade because it actually feels more arcadey. There's less of the realistic bullshit that kind of pissed me off a bit in Red Dead Redemption 2, so it just depends on who you are, really. I really liked Red Dead 1, had an amazing story, the gameplay was fun, it felt way more like a spaghetti western compared to the realistic gritty western that was Red Dead 2, and yeah, just play this one, just do yourself a favor and play it. I also played Undead Nightmare, but I'll be saving that for the next backlog video, so subscribe and stick around for that one. The next game I want to talk about is Onimusha 2. I didn't like Onimusha 2, which saddens me to say because I really enjoyed the first one. It's like this Resident Evil-esque game set in feudal Japan with more of a focus on hack and slash gameplay, but not as much as Devil May Cry, for example. It's kind of like an in-between, if that makes sense. Like, you're not pulling off a bunch of combos, you have like a pretty simple string of attacks to do, but it's more about positioning and where you are, rather than pulling off some cool ass shit that you can do in Devil May Cry. And I really liked it, and I'm glad I played it. So when Onimusha 2 came to Steam, my friend Joe bought me that shit, and I got straight into it, but something about it felt kinda off from the get-go. There was like this hub area with a bunch of NPCs that you could talk to and give gifts. I didn't think too much of it at first, but yeah, the gift giving is actually quite important to how hard the game is, and it can change the story and all that shit. And the problem is you don't know what gifts these NPCs want. So you can give them something where it just completely negates all of the friendship you built up, and they just won't appear later in the game to help you. And there was a boss fight like midway through. It was a repeat boss fight, but you fight him in this like thin foresty area. I died to this fucker too many times to count. And supposedly you can get helped if you build up your friendship with the other NPCs, which obviously I didn't do. And yeah, eventually I did beat him, and I got further into the game, and there were more areas where your friends are supposed to show up to help you, but they just didn't show up to help you. So ultimately this is a skill issue on my part, but it's also the game not really helping, you know? It's not really, it doesn't really tell me what gifts these guys like. It's just a guessing game. And you know, I'm not playing an Onimusha game to give gifts to people. I'm playing an Onimusha game for the combat, the horror, and the level design, which it does have. It's got some pretty good level design, it's got some pretty cool puzzles. I did enjoy that aspect of it. It's just the fucking artificial difficulty with the stupid friendship mechanic. I hated that shit. It does look good though, especially for its time. I think it was one of the last few fixed camera angle games from Capcom, which, you know, I do kind of wish they'd bring back this style a bit. Maybe for some smaller projects, not like a big AAA Resident Evil game, for example. And I know they're making that new Onimusha, which is probably one of my most anticipated games of this year. I'm really hoping that one is good. And yeah, Onimusha 2, you kind of pissed me off a bit, I'm sorry to say. And I ended up dropping it about 2/3 through the game. Now, it's been a while since we've had a guest speaker, and I've managed to actually find someone to be a guest on this episode, and that is my buddy Itz J1mb0, who's going to be talking about Dispatch, so I'll let him do that.
Thank you, Proxidist, for letting me into your Backlog series. The game that I beat that was on my Backlog was Dispatch. Now, I want to talk about Dispatch because after getting round to playing it at the start of this year, I was reminded of a few things. A great, well-written narrative with branching paths can be so satisfying with really simplistic gameplay. What I love the most about Dispatch is how it sets the tone for the world. It's not exactly safe or clean, very much like Marvel or DC, even though there's the same type of humor, but they're able to take it a little bit further. But it also doesn't go super far into gratuitous violence or like a satire of the world, like a reflection of the world that we're in, like The Boys does, and kind of what Invincible does as well. And obviously it comes from the previous Telltale devs, and it has their DNA all over it, which makes me love it even more. And it's what made me appreciate it even more, because we don't really get those types of games anymore. It was that period where we had like the Batman game, we had the Wolf Among Us and the Walking Dead, but then we really didn't see anybody else step up to the plate in that regard. There's been a couple of other games, but yeah, this one was stellar. And knowing how you fare to other people that have played the game, the choices that you make, and having them up on screen is really satisfying, because it means that you get to have a sense of community even though you like are only playing a single player game, so you do feel a part of something. And it's interesting to see how you fare compared to others' choices, if like you chose to pick one of the two love interests in the game and see who was more popular. The reason this was on my Backlog is purely because I was waiting for this to have all its episodes released. and then also to play it over the Christmas period, which I did. And I let the hype die down so I could just play it with a clean slate without people influencing me, even though I knew that it was probably going to be a good game for me, and it was worth every single second.
Now, the next game I want to talk about is Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones took me by surprise because I didn't like the look of it when I first saw it. I was kind of bitter at the fact that Machine Games were making an Indiana Jones game instead of a new Wolfenstein, because I want Wolfenstein 3. I just want that shit injected into my veins already. But I digress, right? It made sense that they made an Indiana Jones game. You know, it's a game where you kill Nazis, for fuck's sake. That's like what Machine Games does. And yeah, Indiana Jones, full discretion, I've only watched one Indiana Jones film, and it's that fucking Crystal Skull film. I went to cinemas to watch it with my dad. I was so young, but I do remember enjoying it as a kid. So take that as you will. But Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, it was a great story. It was a great adventure to go on. Indiana Jones as a character, he's just great. I love every aspect of him. I love his wittiness. I love his silly little remarks. I love how he's the luckiest man alive, and he just escapes the craziest shit somehow, just from pure luck. This guy is literally just Nathan Drake. And speaking of Nathan Drake, the areas you go in this game, like the tombs, they're really cool to explore. I really like the puzzles, mainly because they're kind of brain dead, so they don't actually require much thinking for the most part. I fucking hate puzzles, so this benefited me and my tiny brain. And yeah, I enjoyed the exploration aspect of Indiana Jones. What I didn't enjoy was the combat. The combat of Indiana Jones did not feel great.
What the hell is this?
I wanted to focus way more on stealth because the combat was just so unpleasant to deal with. It feels stiff, it feels clunky, and don't get me started on the gunplay. What the fuck happened here, Machine Games? How did you go from the incredibly satisfying punchy gunplay of the Wolfenstein games to this shit? Headshots don't even kill them half the time. It just like damages them slightly. I don't get it, man. It just feels kind of clunky. The way he holds like key items as well, you can't like stash them in your inventory or anything. He has to like put something down to pick up the other thing. The inventory is a bit clunky to deal with too, especially on mouse and keyboard. I can't speak for controller. But aside from that, I had a good time playing it. I enjoyed it. Some stiff shit aside, it was a good time, and I'm glad that I've finally beaten it. The last game I want to talk about on this backlog video is Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, the reason why I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Black Flag is because I tried playing this game originally. I got about 5 hours in before I had to drop it. And that is because the PC port is dog shit. Not because it runs bad or anything, but because every time I had to open the game, I had to go into my task manager and change like a tiny setting just to get the game to run, and I got so sick of it. Which sucks because I really enjoyed what I played of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I never knew that I wanted a pirate Assassin's Creed game until I played this. Right, the ship combat in the other games like Origins and stuff, I was kind of like, yeah, this is a bit shit. I could just take it or leave this, so it kind of put me off going back to play this game. But now that I actually did, good lord, people weren't lying when they said this was a fun game. It's got some issues, don't get me wrong. The combat in old Assassin's Creed games, it looks flashy, it looks cool, but there's absolutely zero substance there, I'm not gonna lie. It is the easiest shit to play. And yeah, it's got trailing missions, which trailing missions are god awful. There's no way to spin that. I fucking hate trailing missions. But everything else about it, from the parkour, the exploration, the ship combat, the story, it's just incredible, which makes it all the more of a shame that I can't actually beat this game, and I had to take it off my backlog. Luckily though, Ubisoft are remaking it, which means I won't have to deal with that fuck-ass task manager shit anymore. And the reason why I included it on this backlog series is because I technically got this game for like £14. And that is because I had so many Steam trading cards in my inventory, and I had my friend give me a bunch of his, and I just sold them all, and I got about £45 worth, which allowed me to get the deluxe edition of the game for £15. Right, you can't say no to that. And I'm really excited to play it. Like, there's a lot of things that kind of concern me. It's got a similar elements to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and that game was kind of boring as hell, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm optimistic, I'm excited, and if it's shit, Steam lets you refund games that you bought before they come out 2 weeks after they launch, because Steam is a very good service and it's very consumer friendly. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, ended up dropping it, unfortunately, but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed what I played of it, and I'm very excited for the remake. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and now I want to know what games you've been playing in your backlog. Have you beaten them? Did you enjoy them? Or did you hate them and end up dropping them midway through? I'd love to know. I have a section in my Discord server where people talk about backlog games that they've been playing, so if you want to, you know, talk to people on there, feel free to join it. There's a link below. And I also have a backlogged account. If you want to see games that I'm currently playing that might be on a backlog video in the future, that's the place to look. I also review games that I don't include on backlog videos, so yeah, there's another link down below for that. Oh, and a little sneak preview, I will be talking about Metal Gear Solid 2 in the next backlog video. I'm going to be doing a little sneak preview of one game I'm going to be talking about in the next video. Well, you already know two now, it's Undead Nightmare and Metal Gear Solid 2. Alright, let's talk about Green Man Gaming. Green Man Gaming is an incredible storefront where you can add to your backlog, and that is because this storefront does so many incredible deals, so many incredible sales on so many games for Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. It does console games too, I've never actually mentioned that yet, but yeah, you can get almost every game under the sun for a good deal, and every purchase goes toward helping this channel. Speaking of helping this channel, I want to give a huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. You guys are incredible. I hope you've all been enjoying the videos I've been giving you early access to. I really appreciate your support. The same goes for my YouTube supporters, my channel members. It just keeps growing. There's more and more of you every week, and I really appreciate the fact you guys are just supporting me, really. I would love to make this my job in the future. I love making these videos, and yeah, there will be a main channel video soon. I know I've been making so many second channel videos on here, but there will be a main channel video soon, I promise. Until then, I will see you all in the next one.